You hear all these stories about supermax prisons, places they say are inescapable, right? Places like Alcatraz where they claim no one ever successfully escaped. But that's just it, man. They're just claims. The truth is, even the most secure joints on Earth have had their share of Houdinis slip through the cracks. So today, we're diving headfirst into the wild world of prison breaks. We're talking about the most daring escapes, the most shocking security breaches, and the prisons that just can't seem to hold on to their guests. We're going on a global tour, from the US of A to Russia, Venezuela, and beyond, to uncover the stories behind the 10 prisons with the most escapes. Buckle up, folks, because some of these tales are straight out of a Hollywood movie. Except this is real life, with real consequences. Let's do this. Alright, let's kick things off with the big one. Alcatraz. This island fortress, smack dab in the middle of San Francisco Bay, was the ultimate symbol of American prison security for decades. Cold, isolated, and surrounded by treacherous currents, they said it was impossible to escape from Alcatraz alive. And for years they were right. But then came 1962, and 3 guys named Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin. These dudes weren't just your average criminals. They were masterminds. They spent months, meticulously chipping away at the crumbling concrete around their cells with spoons, and whatever else they could get their hands on. They built fake heads, dummies basically, to fool the guards during nighttime checks, and then, on June 11th, they made their move. They slipped through the holes they had painstakingly carved out, navigated the prison's labyrinthine corridors, and vanished into the night. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened to them. Did they drown in the frigid waters? Did they make it to shore and disappear? The mystery remains unsolved, and it forever cemented Alcatraz's place in prison break history. Next up, we're heading down to South America, to Venezuela, where things get a little more intense. La Sabaneta prison in Maracaibo wasn't just known for its escapes, it was notorious for its violence, overcrowding, and corruption. Imagine a place where guards are outnumbered 10 to 1, where gangs rule the cell blocks, and where basic necessities are a luxury. That was La Sabaneta. In these conditions, escape wasn't just a fantasy, it was a way of life. And no escape was more audacious than the mass breakout of 1995. On a sweltering August day, while most of the guards were conveniently indisposed, a group of 84 inmates armed with smuggled weapons stormed the prison armory. Chaos erupted. Gunfire filled the air. Inmates and guards alike scrambled for cover. By the time the dust settled, dozens of inmates had escaped into the surrounding city, leaving behind a trail of destruction and a whole lot of unanswered questions. Now let's jump back to the US, to the supposed Alcatraz of the Rockies, ADX Florence. This supermax prison in Colorado houses some of the most dangerous criminals in the country, guys like El Chapo and the Unabomber. It's a place designed to break spirits, a concrete and steel labyrinth where inmates spend 23 hours a day in solitary confinement. But even in this fortress of despair, one man found a way out: Richard Lee McNair. McNair wasn't your typical hardened criminal. He was a smooth talker, a master manipulator, and as it turned out, a pretty resourceful dude. In 2006, he pulled off one of the most audacious escapes in American history, and he did it with nothing but his wits, some lip balm, and a whole lot of nerve. McNair had been planning his escape for months, studying the prison's routines, exploiting weaknesses in the system. He even managed to convince the guards to give him a job in the prison's mailroom, which gave him access to cardboard boxes, his ticket to freedom. Chapter 4. San Pedro, Bolivian Bazaar Breakout. From the high-security walls of ADX Florence, we travel south once again to the heart of Bolivia, to a prison unlike any other, San Pedro. Now this place is wild, man. Forget everything you think you know about prisons because San Pedro operates by its own set of rules. Inside these walls, inmates buy and sell their cells, families live with their incarcerated loved ones, and there's a thriving black market economy. It's less a prison, more like a self-governed city within a city. And in 2009, this chaotic environment provided the backdrop for a mass escape that shocked the nation. It wasn't a violent takeover, no explosions or gunfire, just a well-coordinated plan that exploited the prison's lax security and corrupt officials. 35 inmates, working together under the cover of darkness, simply walked out of San Pedro, disappearing into the bustling streets of La Paz. It was a testament to the prison's unique social structure and a stark reminder that even in the most unconventional of prisons, escape is never far from mind. Chapter 5, Korydallos Paleokostas' high-flying heist. Hold on tight, folks, because we're about to take a wild ride with Greece's most notorious escape artist, Vasilis Paleokostas. This guy is the real deal, a modern-day Robin Hood in the eyes of some, a cunning criminal in the eyes of the law. Korydallos prison in Athens thought they had him locked up tight, but Paleokostas had other plans. In 2006, he pulled off an escape that would make even the most seasoned Hollywood screenwriter jealous. Picture this. A helicopter descends from the sky, landing in the prison courtyard amidst a cloud of dust and swirling rotor blades. Armed accomplices disguised as businessmen storm out, guns blazing, creating a diversion while Paleokostas calmly boards the helicopter. The chopper lifts off, soaring over the prison walls and disappearing into the Athenian sky, leaving behind a stunned crowd of inmates and guards. But that wasn't the end of it. Oh no, Paleokostas wasn't done yet. He escaped again in 2009 using the exact same method. Chapter 6. La Modelo, Colombia's Great Escape. From the skies above Greece, we touch down in the heart of Colombia, to La Modelo prison in Bogotá. This place was notorious for its overcrowding, its brutal conditions, and its history of daring escapes. In 2001, La Modelo witnessed one of its most brazen breakouts, a meticulously planned operation that involved tunnels, bribes, and a whole lot of luck. 28 inmates, led by a group of powerful drug lords, managed to pull off the impossible. For months they had been secretly digging a tunnel, a feat of engineering ingenuity, right under the noses of the guards. They used whatever tools they could get their hands on: spoons, sharpened pieces of metal, even their bare hands. The tunnel stretched for hundreds of feet, leading from the depths of the prison to a nearby neighborhood. On the night of the escape, the inmates slipped through the tunnel one by one, emerging into the darkness and disappearing into the city. Chapter 7. Maze Prison, The Troubles Erupt. Now we're stepping into a story steeped in history and political turmoil, the Maze Prison escape in Northern Ireland. This wasn't just a prison break, it was a defining moment in the long and bloody conflict known as the Troubles. The maze, located near Lisburn, was designed to hold members of paramilitary groups, including the Irish Republican Army, or IRA. It was considered one of the most secure prisons in Europe, but even these walls couldn't contain the determination of those fighting for their cause. On September 25, 1983, 38 IRA prisoners, led by Bobby Storey and Jerry Kelly, executed one of the most audacious escapes in British history. Armed with smuggled handguns and knives, they overpowered guards, hijacked a prison food truck, and crashed their way through the main gate. The escape sent shockwaves through the UK and Ireland, exposing vulnerabilities in the prison system and fueling tensions on both sides of the conflict. It remains the largest prison escape in British history and a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict. Chapter 8, Black Dolphin, Escape from Hell on Earth. Get ready to enter a world of darkness and despair, folks, because we're heading to Russia, to a place called Black Dolphin Prison. This maximum security penitentiary, located on the steppes of Soledetsk, is known for housing some of Russia's most dangerous criminals, serial killers, terrorists, the worst of the worst. Life in Black Dolphin is brutal, man. Inmates are kept under constant surveillance, confined to their cells for 23 hours a day, and subjected to a strict regime of psychological and physical control. Escape seems like an impossibility, a distant fantasy. But in 2010, 3 inmates defied the odds. They managed to escape from this fortress of despair, proving that even in the darkest of places, hope, or at least the will to survive, can never be fully extinguished. Details of their escape are shrouded in secrecy, a testament to the prison's tight-lipped authorities and the fear that surrounds Black Dolphin. Chapter 9. El Rodeo, Venezuela's exploding prison problem. We're back in Venezuela, folks, to a place that embodies the country's struggles with crime, corruption, and social unrest, El Rodeo Prison. This overcrowded and understaffed facility became a symbol of everything wrong with the Venezuelan penal system. In 2011, El Rodeo exploded onto the world stage, not for a daring escape, but for a bloody riot that lasted for an entire month. In the midst of the chaos and violence, over 80 inmates managed to escape, disappearing into the sprawling slums that surround the prison. The El Rodeo riot wasn't just about escape. It was a desperate cry for help, a manifestation of the inhumane conditions, rampant gang activity, and lack of basic necessities that plagued the prison. Chapter 10. Fuchu Prison, Shiratori's Unbreakable Spirit. Our final stop takes us to the land of the rising sun, Japan, to Fuchu Prison in Tokyo. This story isn't about a mass breakout or a violent takeover, it's about the indomitable spirit of one man, Yoshi Shiratori. Shiratori was a convicted thief, a master of escape, and a legend in Japanese prison lore. He was known for his Houdini-like ability to slip out of even the most secure cells. In 1942, while serving a life sentence at Fuchu Prison, Shiratori pulled off his most daring escape yet. He didn't use tunnels, weapons, or outside help. His tools were his bare hands, his cunning mind, and an unwavering determination to break free. Shiratori exploited a weakness in the prison's design, a flaw in the way the metal food hatch in his cell door was secured. Day after day, he meticulously chipped away at the metal, using a mixture of miso soup and rust to weaken it. And then one day, he made his move. He squeezed through the tiny opening, a testament to the human body's ability to contort and contrive, and vanished into the night. Outro can't keep him caged. So there you have it, folks. 10 prisons, 10 stories of daring escapes, human ingenuity, and the never-ending struggle for freedom, even when that freedom is just beyond the reach of razor wire and concrete walls. It's crazy, right? You think about these places, these fortresses designed to keep people locked up, and you realize that even in the most secure environments, the human spirit, the will to survive, to break free, it can't be contained. These stories, man, they remind us that no matter how hopeless things seem, there's always a way out, always a glimmer of hope, even in the darkest of places. And sometimes that glimmer of hope takes the form of a spoon, a helicopter, or a bowl of miso soup. You never know, man, you never know.